Hello and welcome to our 38th session. In the previous session, we added a power up, we boosted the power of the player, but this boosted power should be present for a limited time, for example around 5 seconds. So we are going to implement this concept of time-based code control, and in Unity we used a special function for it known as Coroutines. By the end of this session, the player will be able to pick up a power up which will temporarily give them super strength and then disappear after a certain amount of time. After the player collides with the power up, we need to start a countdown timer running in the background, and when the countdown timer reaches 0, we will deactivate the power up. The way we will program this timer is using something in Unity what we call as coroutines. A coroutine allows you to delay running some of your code by a certain amount of seconds. So when the player collides with the power up, we will start the coroutine. In that coroutine, we will add a delay of, let's say, 5 seconds. Then after those 5 seconds have elapsed, we will run the code to deactivate the power up. So to make all that happen, let's dive into Unity. As usual, let us start by launching Unity Hub. Come into the project and click on this tilting_island file to launch the project. But if you doesn't have this project files, do not worry. Click on new project and here in the template choose Universal 3D SRP. Come into the project name. I will call this as Tilting Island Fix and click on create project. As Unity is getting launched, come to the YouTube page or the e-learning page, and if you scroll down in the description, if you click on more, you have a Patreon link provided to you. Click on this Patreon link. This will bring you to the Junior Programmer Series page, and if you scroll down here, you are provided with this 38 Coroutines Countdown Start Unity package. Click on this to download it. If required, click on this Satvik_layout.wlt for the layout file. In the project panel, select this readme file and in the inspector, click on this remove readme asset, and in the remove readme asset confirmation page, click on proceed. In the project panel, you don't need this input system_action file also. So right click and choose delete, and in the delete selected asset confirmation page, click on delete. If your layout doesn't resemble the layout that you are seeing here, you can come on the right side, click on this layout panel and you have Satvik layout selected. But if you don't see this, come into load layout from file, browse to the downloaded folder, select Satvik_layout.wlt file and click on open. The layout you are seeing in this video and the layout you will be using will be the same. Now come into the project panel, click on asset, right click and choose import package custom package, and in the downloads folder you just now downloaded this 38 Coroutines Countdown Start. Select this file and click on open. Now in the import Unity package dialog box, see that all is selected and click on the import button. Now once it is imported, come into the scenes and you have a scene tilting_island. Double click to open this. Select this sample scene, right click and choose delete, and in the confirmation window, click on delete. When the player picks up this jump, that is the power up, it gets special power and it has an added force of around 15 and can knock out the enemy. But this power should not remain unlimited. It should be removed after a certain amount of time. Say for example, after we get this power up, after about 5 seconds or 7 seconds, we want this power to be removed from the player. To implement this logic, if you come here into the hierarchy and select the player, as usual, we are going to use the player controller script for this. So I will come into the project panel scripts and double click player controllers to open it. If it asks to trust the author, click on yes, I trust the author. This kind of measuring the time was used in update. Most of the games, when they want to measure time, they come into the void update and they measure the time, and this has performance issues. So the best way to control this kind of time related event is we are going to call a different kind of function in C# which we call as IEnumerator. After this on collision enter, after this closing bracket, I will press enter twice and I am going to type IE in capital, then enumerator. I got this IEnumerator here, paste, and I'm now going to call power up countdown routine, add open close bracket. The only difference is here, instead of declaring it as public void or as public with some return value, we are calling it as IEnumerator. Click enter, add open close flower bracket. And now inside this flower bracket, I will press enter, and in this case, we are going to use a keyword called yield, and this yield is going to return a new. Here we have a method which we call it as WaitForSeconds, and in open close bracket end it with semicolon, and inside this bracket I have to mention for how many seconds my player will have the power up. Say for example, I want the player to have power up for 7 seconds. Then after 7 seconds is over, how are we going to remove this power up? It is very simple. Press enter, call this boolean has power up and set its value back to false and end it with semicolon. I have to come here into this code where we had enabled power up. That is, when our player collides with this power up or game object, in the third line, again here is a new command, StartCoroutine. And in open close bracket, I will end it with semicolon. I am going to select my IEnumerator name here, Control C and copy it. I will come inside this bracket and paste it. So I am calling this power up countdown routine in this StartCoroutine when our player hits the power up. If I go to file, save this, and if I come back here into Unity, wait for the script to compile. If I select the player, and if you see player control here, has power up is off. Now if I play the game, I will go and collect the power up. So now the power up has been collected. So with the power up collected, wait for 7 seconds and you can see the power up is gone. I will stop the playback. To know whether the power up is on or off, we use this player control has power up in the script. But for the end user to identify it, we have to add some kind of clue. Come into the project panel, and here in the course library, if you open it, you have power up indicators. Open this, you have balloon underscore 01, you have selection ring 2, you have selection ring 3 and selection ring 6. Now I am going to select this selection ring 2 and drag it into the scene, and in the inspector in transform I will come to the right end and I will reset its position to 0, 0, 0. Now I will come into the scene and press F to zoom in. Now you can see my power up is very small compared to my player size. Come into the inspector. First I am going to rename this as power up indicator. Here in the transform, in the scale, I will enable constraint proportions and set the X scale to around 3. Now this power indicator, make this power up indicator on or off when my hash power is true or false. If you come into the inspector, you have a tick mark. I can switch it on or switch it off here. Instead of switching off or on here, I am going to do it using the script. I will switch this off. I will come into my player control script and I am going to double click to open it. I am going to come into line number 20. Below this, add 2 forward slashes, create variable to hold the power up indicator object. Press enter. I am going to call this as public game object. Call this as power up indicator, and here I will keep the P small because this is a variable, and I am going to end it with semicolon. I want this power up indicator to be off when I start the game, either in awake. So everything we have set it in awake. Come into awake, and after this player RB get component, I will press enter, add 2 forward slashes, set my power up indicator to off at start. And I am now going to press enter. I will call this power up indicator, and you have a function here called set active, and in open close bracket I will set this to false and I will end it with semicolon. Now I will select this entire code here. I will right click and copy this code. Now I will come down where we actually enable the power up. If you scroll down, in on trigger enter, when our player collides with power up, here we have set it to as power up is equal to true, and below this I am going to paste this command, and this false I will now change it to true. As soon as the power up is set to true, my power up indicator will become active. If you scroll down, we had called this IEnumerator power up countdown routine, and here we had made our power up equals false, and below this I will press Ctrl V and paste this line and leave it as it is. Now I will come to file and save this. If I come back to Unity, allow the script to compile. I am going to select my player, and in the inspector, if you scroll down, now in player control, in power up indicator, I have to attach my power up indicator game object. So from the hierarchy, I will drag this power up indicator and attach it here. Come to file, save it, and if I now execute the file and if I check it, now as soon as player collects it, see now power up indicator is on, it is remaining at the center and then it goes away. I have to now move this power up indicator along with my player. To achieve this, I will stop the playback. I will now come back into my script. In FixedUpdate, I will scroll down, and after this we apply our value to our player using rigid body. After this line, I will press enter, and I am now going to add 2 forward slashes. Now I have to move the power up indicator to my player position. I will press enter, and I am now going to call up my power up indicator. Period transform period position will be equal to my current transform dot position, and I will end it with semicolon. I want to add animation here, so I will press enter, and I will again call this power up indicator period transform, and now I will call the rotate function, and here in open close bracket I am going to rotate it along the axis vector 3 period up. I am going to multiply it by 10f. Then I will multiply this by time dot delta time, and after the close bracket I will add the semicolon. If I come into the file, if I save it, come back to Unity, allow the script to compile. Now if I play and test it, you can now see as soon as I collect the power up, you have the power up moving around me. The rotation speed is very less. So I will stop the playback. Come back here to my script, and instead of 10, I will set it to 100. And even in the position, it is coming exactly at the center of my player. I am going to add an offset. So I will add plus, and I will add a new vector 3, end it with open close power bracket, and inside this, I will set it x value to 0, and along the y I will move it down by minus 0.5f, comma, and end it with 0. I will go to file, save this, and if I come back to Unity, allow the script to compile. If I now play and check it, see now as soon as I collect the power up, you can see the rotating power up all around the player here. See, it is rotating, and after about 7 seconds, it goes away. I will stop the playback. With this, we are going to conclude this session, and in our next session, we are going to work on spanning these enemies one after another as the game continues. We are going to do using loops. So let us discuss about loops in programming in our next session.